It's time for Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears, with your hosts, Alex.
Gosh, I have so many questions. Also, where's my car?
Splash.
Strive to love something as much as my grandmother loves buying new crock pots.
And Mac.
If you've ever been to Boston, you know that they have amazing ice cream.
Coming to you from coast to coast, it's L-A-R.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Losses Above Replacement, the greatest baseball podcast to grace your ears. I'm today's host, Mathias Kurosaki, and with me, I have Alex Clark, just the two of us today. Splash is feeling a little under the weather. Hope he feels better. But it is our first show of 2025. Welcome to the new year. Alex, how are you doing on this fine Wednesday?
You know, a new year, new me, new mental anguish. It's all good in the hood over here. Again, a happy 2025 to all of our listeners. We didn't get to record for the last couple of weeks because the days that were available / able to record were either holidays or we just did not have the time to make it work with other holidays. We decided just to take the time to be with our families, be with our friends during the holiday seasons. But I'm in a very odd place. During last Friday, I lost my job. So now I am back to fully looking for work again. So always fun on that front. But, you know, I've been productive since then. So that's what matters right now.
Yeah, and like you were saying, it was definitely busy around the holidays. I had family in town. Basically everyone except for my oldest brother came home. My childhood best friend from Baltimore, who lives in Baltimore, was home. So I spent a lot of time hanging out with them. You may notice I sound a bit different. I have a microphone now.
It's only taken you 5 years and several hundred podcasts for you to realize, you know what would be nice? A good audio recording implement.
Full disclosure, I meant to get one of these a while ago, and I kept saying I was going to get them, and then I was talking to my parents right before the holidays. They're like, you know, why don't we, as a gift this year, get you a microphone? And sure enough, here we are, finally.
I just want to make a quick mention. This is not a shot at you. This is just funny to me. In the time that it has taken you to do this, our podcast has changed names, and I've now gone through 4 different jobs.
Yeah, so a lot has changed. Let's say that.
I don't want to say I've gotten fired or laid off from all these jobs, just contracts that got over, but it's been a minute.
So yeah, I know. I started out when I was recording all of it off my phone because I had the old Apple earbuds, you know, that had a mic, the wired ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So talk about the Dino age. That was a while ago.
It's weird. You actually sound good now. Weird. Right?
Yeah, it's crazy how that works. But anyways, there hasn't been a ton of news since we last recorded, which was, I believe, 3 weeks ago now. But there was one big signing that we are going to get to. Corbin Burnes signing a 6-year deal, $210 million with the Diamondbacks. There's an opt-out after 2026. This broke in the middle of the night. I was asleep when it happened. We're going to do a quick little 3-word only segment. So, Alex, what's your 3-word reaction to the Burnes signing?
So I have 2 different ones, and I'll get to both of them here. My first one is addressing the issues. Like, the biggest issue, in my personal opinion, for the Diamondbacks was lack of pitching. Like, yes, you had Zach Gallen. Yes, you had some of these other names, but go back to the World Series that they lost to Texas in, even. They were throwing Brandon Pfaadt out to pitch here to start games, and look, it worked out-ish, but you really needed a lot of extra help there. Their offense was carrying them the entire way through, and even this year, their offense really was their main driving force, except for Zach Gallen, Kevin Ginkel, just a few other names out there. So adding a guy like Corbin Burnes is a direct sign that is saying, look, we know what the issue is. We're working on it. Here's our big plan for it. And I think it's going to turn out well for them. At this point, you know that if you want someone that's going to be a solid number 1 or number 2, Corbin Burnes is about as good as you're gonna get.
Yeah. So my 3 words are snakes are back. I mean, Jolly Olive did a video about the history of Arizona's pitching contracts, and they've had some rocky ones. They did sign Zach Greinke, and he was pretty good for the most part, but they ended up having to move that contract. Burnes, like you were saying, they needed another arm, another ace in that staff. And on paper, this is a great pitching staff.
Yeah.
Say they move Jordan Montgomery. Montgomery doesn't have a spot in the rotation anymore, but you lead with Zach Gallen and Corbin Burnes. That's a really good 1-2. And then you have Nelson. You have Fott. Fott is good too. It's a solid 1-5. Oh, and Merrill Kelly, of course.
Oh yeah.
This is a good rotation, and the NL is a bloodbath. I think Diamondbacks can make it back to the postseason. I can see them leapfrogging at least one of San Diego and Philadelphia.
They're going to have to, especially with how strong the Dodgers are right now, and they just keep getting stronger.
Yeah, and then the National League is just stacked. I do have concerns about Burnes just because his strikeout rate has dropped each of the last 4 years. But still, even if you get like a fraction of what he did in Baltimore and Milwaukee, you're getting a good pitcher. And
yeah,
in some ways, this is a short-term contract because he has the opt-out. But good for the Diamondbacks and good for Burnes. Really, the big loser here is Baltimore, man. They have signed Charlie Morton and Justin Verlander, 2 guys. Or sorry, not Justin Verlander.
Verlander's a different one. We'll get to that.
But they signed Charlie Morton and Tomoyuki Sugano, another older pitcher. He's 35 already, and Charlie Morton is 41. Which, all right, fine. You get some, Grizzly veterans. Granted, Sugano, it's his first year in the majors, but you lose Corbin Burnes, who was your ace. So right now you're looking at probably Zach Eflin starting out opening day, and I think Zach Eflin is fine. He's not an ace. So.
That's the part that hurts at that point for them. Yeah. Specifically considering the fact, Charlie Morton is good. Yeah, Zach Eflin is good. But, now you have a gaping hole on that side. But on the flip side of that, we were talking about this a little bit pre-show, is that does open up the Orioles now for maybe trading for a pitcher or trying to find another way to kind of bolster that rotation. I do want to give my quick other 3-word I had on this here, and that is joining Dark Side. Because one of the things that isn't being talked about as much with this is that this is another deal with a lot of deferrals. Here, the deal itself was a $210 million deal with $64 million of it being deferred. I don't know the exact full specs on it right now. I'm trying to find those right now. But again, we are in this age now where you're not paying for the right now. You're going to pay for it later here, but you're just trying to save as much money now in your window, which right now I think is going to get rid of a lot of parity in baseball very soon. If more and more teams go to this, you're basically going to have what looks to be like half the league that's actually going for it and the other half of the league that is paying for it.
Yeah, maybe they're taking a page out of the Dodgers playbook a little bit. The Mets did that with Sean Manaea.
Again, baseball, this is where it's going, and I hate to see it because
it's definitely heading that way.
I just want to say one last thing on that. Go back to last year when we were talking about the Ohtani deal and Splash was defending the deferred contracts on us. $68 million a year isn't going to mean that much in 10 years. Yeah, try $1 billion.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. $1 billion. Yeah. $1 billion. It's crazy to me.
On this thing, I'm just Splash, I love you, my man. I'm right on this one.
And speaking of the Dodgers,
so far out of
speaking of the Dodgers, they did make another splash. No pun intended there. They did make another splash on the free agent market, though, signing Korean infielder Hae-Sung Kim to a 3-year deal. And as a result, they've traded Gavin Lux to the Reds for a competitive balance pick and Michael Sirota, who is an outfield prospect, just got drafted out of Northeastern this year in the 3rd round. My 3 words here, it's pretty simple. Rich get richer.
Yeah, I'll give us that was exactly what my 3 words were. Too.
I mean,
and I feel I'm gonna have to change him now. I have another set, but that's hard.
Yeah. So really, I mean, I did not have the Dodgers on my radar for this. I'm going to be completely honest, and I don't know why I didn't have them on my radar. Maybe it's because I thought Gavin Lux, who had a very good second half, he had an 899 OPS in the second half. I was thinking maybe finally he'll break out and be the star we once thought he would be. And I guess they were like, you know what? Let's just sign Hyesung Kim instead. Kim, my only concern with Kim is that he doesn't hit the ball. He doesn't hit for power a lot, but he's a slick fielding infielder. They're going to have probably Mookie Betts playing shortstop, and he's not the best defender at shortstop. But Kim is a great defender at second base. He can play all 4 infield positions. It's a great move for him. I almost wish they didn't have to trade Gavin Lux, but I think Lux is going to ball out in Cincinnati. It's a bit of a bandbox, Great American Ballpark. I could see Lux becoming a 25 to 30 home run bat. That's what I thought he was going to be when he was coming up through the minors. He was the number 1 prospect in baseball, mind you. But he's finally going to get his chance. No restrictions on that playing time. I know they have a crowded middle infield. There's a reason they moved Jonathan India, but I think that move will end up well for both the Reds and Lux.
Agreed. So, yeah, Rich getting richer was my original 3. But I'll pivot. I'll pivot on this one to a different idea on this. And my 3 new words are Ohtani Yamamoto effect. Like, can we really not say that these 2 didn't play at least a part in getting Hyesung Kim? Like, come on. They're starting to become a lot more about Team Japan over in Dodgerland.
Well, granted, Kim is from Korea.
I know, yes, sorry. But,
it's I understand where you're coming from here, though.
Yeah.
And I do believe they did play a part in it.
Yeah, so, okay, my apologies on that bit. But regardless, you're still going to see the exact same bit here of those 2 getting a lot of international free agents here to go for the team, which, I don't see how the Dodgers can be out of the running on basically any international signing at this point here. And that is really scary considering there's still 1 more that we do not know the answer for yet.
Yeah, and I will say that Kim was teammates with Tommy Edman on Team Korea in the World Baseball Classic.
He? Oh, yeah.
So, Edman may have played a role in recruiting him too. And it's crazy. Edman is an infielder by trade, but he's going to be playing a lot of center field next year. On the flip side, Mookie Betts is going to be playing a lot of shortstop. But the Dodgers, I don't even know where to go anymore.
Okay, a rare third 3-word answer here: embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, seriously, that's what it is. That's the thing. Like I was saying, Lux had a great second half. I thought for sure, all right, finally he's going to break out. The Dodgers are going to have this unbeatable lineup because Lux is going to be their number 9 hitter. But yeah, man. I think Lux can be an all-star next year, though.
He can.
He finally put everything together in the second half. So now I'm looking for that over the course of a full season.
Yeah,
but
it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, but anyways, we have reached that point of the year. It is time for some positional rankings. We are starting today with the catcher position. We're going to be doing our top 5s. We're going to try to do one once every week. That'll take us right up until opening day in Tokyo when the Cubs face the Dodgers. So we're going to get started at the catcher position. It's tough here. I'll tell you that much. We were talking about this pre-show. We have 3 guys who we definitely believe are the top 3. Picking 4 and 5, very, very difficult. So, Alex, go ahead. Yep.
Well, there were about 10 names I could have put in that 4 or 5 slot. The ones I went with, I'm going to be real. Some of them felt like very shot in the dark type idea.
I feel that.
Yeah.
So let's get going with number 5 then. Alex, tell us who's your number 5.
Yeah. So my number 5 of best catchers going into 2025 is Austin Wells.
Ooh,
Austin Wells is, again, coming off of a very, very impressive rookie year and going to this the steamer with Fangraphs. They projected to do just as well this coming year. A walk rate of nearly 10% here. A very, very strong defensive catcher, projected to have a 6.8 defensive WAR, and not too bad with the bat in his hands either. Here, the biggest issue you can see is a 22% strikeout rate projected here, as well as a WRC plus of about 107. Like, is that great? No, not really. But there are a lot of names, and honestly, the biggest reason why I put him over some of the other names on my list is because of the defense. Here, plus he's playing in Yankee Ballpark, which makes every hitter absolutely great here. But no, yeah, I've got Austin Wells for my number 5.
So I do want to start with a couple of honorable mentions here. Some guys who I do not have on my top 5 this year, and they might surprise you. So I'm going to start with Salvador Perez. Salvador Perez can hit still. I'm not going to deny that. I think he took a step forward this year. My issue here is that he was never a great defender to begin with. And also, as we see him age, he's going to play less and less behind the plate. And this year, the Royals, their quote-unquote backup catcher, Freddie Fermin, was a Gold Glove finalist. So you're probably going to start seeing more of Fermin at catcher and Perez at DH or first base. Yeah. So he's my first honorable mention. The other one, and I can't believe I'm leaving him off, but Will Smith.
Yeah.
I don't have Will Smith in my top 5. His bat has gotten worse each year. It's still good. I mean, for a catcher especially, it's still good. His defense has never been that great. And this year it took a step back. So I had to leave Smith off. And the other one I do want to mention is Sean Murphy. We didn't really get to see what Murphy could do this year. Splash ranked him number 1 entering last year because he was nasty in 2023, albeit he had a rough second half, but he was still, like, for a catcher, he was elite. But he was hurt last year. He really didn't get going. So I have to leave him off. My number 5, I'm going with Yainer Diaz from Houston. So Diaz, definitely a bat first catcher. I'll tell you that much. He had 299, 117 WRC plus. It's lower than his rookie year mark of 127, but still, I mean, a 766 OPS is very good for a catcher. His defense, not so great. He's below average, but he doesn't really walk. Only a 3.9% walk rate. That's actually an increase from the 2.9% of his rookie year, and also 17.3% strikeout rate. That's a drop. Yes, he does hit the ball on the ground, and that is a concern to me. But in general, he hits the ball hard. Average exit velocity is over 90 miles per hour. So I really like what I see out of Yainer Diaz. Actually, his hard hit rate went up, so that's good. But yeah, there's a lot to like here. He actually underperformed some of his batted ball metrics. So I think that going forward, at least from an offensive perspective, he could be top 3. But overall, I think he's a top 5 catcher. So I'm going to move forward, though. Yep.
I can see that. Since you said some of your honorable mentions, I should also say some of mine as well. I do not have Diaz in mind as well, although you're very right. Very batting first catcher. Very good, but I went a couple different other ways. Other guys I do not have on my list that honestly very well could be on it. Here, Patrick Bailey, one of the best defensive catchers out there. Here, Will Smith, I don't have. Murphy, I don't have on my list. Francisco Alvarez was one I was kind of playing around with, as well as Bo Naylor. None of those guys made my list, but honestly, I was reshuffling my 4 and 5 basically up until we hit the record button.
Yeah, and they're gonna be like, I think Alvarez can take a step forward this year. Shea Langoliers is a big time power bat. And like you were saying about Patrick Bailey, he's sort of the opposite of a guy like Diaz, and where he's all glove, no bat. If Patrick Bailey can get his WRC plus up to like 100, he will be a top 5 catcher. Until we see that, though, it's going to be very difficult. Tyler Stevenson is another guy who improved a lot this year, but I don't have. And then there's Wilson Contreras, who by WRC plus was the best offensive catcher in baseball, but he's no longer a catcher. He's a first baseman now. So and to be fair, Contreras was not a great defensive catcher to begin with. But anyway, moving on. At number 4, I have Austin Wells. Austin Wells, if he didn't have that slow month of September, he really, really struggled in September. But before that, he was a great offensive catcher. He still finished the year above average, 105 WRC plus. He was a finalist for Rookie of the Year, 3rd place. His teammate Luis Gil won. I really like watching Austin Wells. He draws walks. He hits home runs. He pulls the ball, and he pulls the ball in the air a lot, which is great for Yankee Stadium. It means we'll see a lot of home runs. I think he hit 13 this year. I think next year, he's going to get more playing time now that Jose Trevino's gone. I think that we're looking at a guy who could hit 20 to 25 this year.
Yeah.
Really. With his approach, 11% walk rate, 21% strikeout rate. It's a little high, but it's not. It's around average, I think.
Yeah.
He hits the ball over the fence, like I said earlier, and he's a great defensive catcher. This is a guy who is probably going to contend for a Gold Glove down the line, and there's a reason why everyone was so high on him coming up through the organization. So I think Wells, I really went back and forth on whether or not to put him in the top 5, but when you put together having an above average bat with an elite glove, there's no reason to not put him in the top 5. So I have him at number 4.
That was my reasoning for putting him in at number 5. Yeah. So I'll go into my number 4 next here. And this was one that until I was looking at like kind of the projections for next year, I didn't really even have him on my radar. But the more I looked at him, I'm like, you know what? I think he deserves it. That's Gabriel Moreno. For Moreno, looking at what he's got cooking for 2025, according to Fangraphs, he is one of the best, if not they're projecting him to be the best defensive catcher out there with a defensive WAR 12.9. Not sure how much I believe that, but there are a couple other things that I really like seeing. He's got a nearly 10% walk rate here projected, as well as a strikeout rate of only about 16% as well. Like, walks a good bit, doesn't strike out a ton, already looking good. Plus the fact he gets the bat on the ball here. He has a 283 It's like 283 projected average and a WRC plus of 117. So looking at Moreno with Arizona, the team is just getting stronger and stronger around him. Here, I think that because of that, he could really have that breakout year now that he's having more pieces along to help him out.
Yeah, so I left Moreno off. I do appreciate your point about him putting the ball in play, and he does draw a lot of walks. He doesn't strike out much. He has almost no pop at the plate. That's my concern.
Yeah.
A 380 slugging percentage this year. He doesn't hit the ball particularly hard, but he's, an old school hitter, bat on ball. It's just, his WRC plus did go up to 107, but I need to see a little more pop from him before I really put him up there. I think he's solid defensively for sure. He had, close to 3 Fangraphs for, I think that he's definitely improved. I'll say that much. I was really not that high on him in Toronto, and that's why I thought he was expendable. But you look at him now, and he was a key reason why the Diamondbacks won the pennant in 2023. So I do see a way for him to be top 5. I personally don't have him there.
That's fair.
But
anyways,
why don't you go ahead and give us your number 3 catch?
All right. So now we're getting to the 3 that most people are going to have on their list. So hopefully the comments won't be eating me alive this time. But for mine, it's the order that's going to be a little bit hard here, I think. But for me personally, at number 3, I went with one William Contreras. I put Contreras at 3 instead of 2. And the main reason here for me personally is that looking at what I think Adley Rutschman can do going forward more, I like his upside just a bit more. So, that's my number 2 here. With Contreras, the other thing that kind of limits down over Rutschman is the strikeout percentage projections. Right now, have him at over 20%. And I get it. He's a power hitter. That's what he does. But they're both dang good, right? But for Contreras, he's still dang great. I can't say anything bad. Right now is projected to have the best offensive season for a catcher, according to Fangraphs. Here, again, a 20.4 WAR projected here, offensive WAR, and a WRC plus of 128. The guy is great. The guy is going to have an amazing year here as a catcher. It's just about playing time and what I expect personally to see Adley Rutschman to do going into what is now going to be, I believe, his 3rd season.
So I have Adley Rutschman at number 3, and I had him at number 1 entering last year, but it's hard to not be concerned about what happened last year. He started the year off just fine, but I mean, he finished the year with a slugging percentage below 400. And I think, he was still above average by WRC plus, but everything in his game took a step back. His slugging percentage, his batting average, his expected batting average, his expected slugging, his ex-WOBA, his WOBA, literally everything fell backwards. I will give him this much, which is that his fly ball rate went way up and his ground ball rate went down by nearly 8%. So I'm not saying he can't turn things around next year. I mean, I think I feel like that was probably like a 20th percentile outcome for him. Like there's no way he could be that bad again. And I'll say he did have a bit of rough BABIP luck. It was only 272 this year. But there's a lot of cause for concern here. I mean, his walk rate dropped to 9%. His strikeout rate went up a little bit. It's still only 16%, but his isolated power is down to 140. That being said, he's still an above average defender. And I really do believe that he can bounce back this year. And I think the Orioles as a whole, they went from like a 99th percentile outcome in 2023 to somewhere in the middle of the pack there. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying they're winning over 100 games next year, but I'm not expecting them all of a sudden come crashing down to earth and miss the playoffs next year because the American League isn't that good. But I'm going Adley at 3. I can see a case where if you're really banking on a bounce back, you can put him at number 2.
I'll talk about why I have him at 2 in a second.
So I'll go ahead and say my number 2, I have William Contreras. I get your point kind of on why you have him at number 3, but to me, I mean, a 131 WRC plus from a catcher is just fantastic. You don't get that very often. This is a guy who is also like a bat first catcher for sure in Atlanta. And now he had a career high 23 homers. He drove in a career high 92 runs. His walk rate went to a career high 11.5%. His strikeout rate dropped to a career low 20.5%. Overall, just a great season. And defensively, he's fantastic. Like I said earlier, in Atlanta, he was basically a DH. They'd have Darno behind the plate and Contreras DH, but second straight year of being great defensively. His framing has gotten better. His blocking has gotten better. His arm has gotten better. Really, he's trending up. And I'll say this much about numbers 1 and 2. It's 1A, 1B. Okay?
Yeah.
I think Contreras is the 1B. There's a very strong case for him to be number 1 straight up. Also, his exit velocity went way up. His ground ball rate went down a little bit. It's still high, but it went down a bit. His fly ball rate went up. Across the board, just a great season for William Contreras. And, there's a world where he's number 1 again. But I have him at number 2. It's really, really close, though.
Yeah. So my number 2 is Adley. And honestly, everything that you said about Adley is correct. But in my personal opinion here, right, and this is something we have seen time and time and time again in baseball, is the sophomore slump is very real, right? Rookies could come in, have an amazing first year, do really good because the scouting report is not fully on them yet. The second year is usually the year where you really see a downturn. And that downturn will be because the scouting report is now on them. And now they have to kind of work around that again. But it comes down to how well do you adapt. And I think that Adley Rutschman absolutely can do that, especially as a young switch hitting catcher. I think that is going to be excellent for him going forward. Here, it's just about how well can he adapt, because he did struggle last year. Not gonna sugarcoat that. Like you were talking about, was one of the worst ways we could have seen Adley Rutschman. But I think that because of that, we are going to see him skyrocket up a bit more in 2025, just because if he's able to adapt like we think he's going to be right up there at the number 2 spot. Not number 1, because that's reserved for someone else.
So why don't you tell us who number 1 is? Because I think we both have the same number 1.
We do have and I actually have a prop for this one here. It is the one and only Big Dumpa Cal Raleigh.
Boy, that is an excellent pillow, by the way.
This was made by my grandma, so thank you very much, Grandma.
That is awesome.
Also, very big ass. Anyway. I've literally had this sitting on my lap since we started recording. But no, I mean, looking at what Cal Raleigh did in 2024 is honestly magic. Like, this dude figured every bit of it out. He walks about 10% of the time. He does have a high strikeout rate. I'm not going to deny that. This dude is potentially one of the best, if not the best, defensive catcher in baseball here. He hits the ball so obscenely well. He is so dang good at working with pitchers, working around other hitters, and he's projected to have a 30 home run season going into this year. I mean, this dude is doing everything you want, and on top of it, he's a switch hitter too. So it does not matter which side of the plate you go against him, he's still gonna take you deep. Just ask Boston. But at that same point, like, I love the fact that now I think I actually did pick Cal Raleigh to be the number one catcher last year. And now I'm doing it again. Last time it was homerism. This time it's fully factual.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, he hits the tar out of the ball. Let's just put it that way. 34 homers, 100 RBIs. His batted ball data was the best it had ever been. Yes, his strikeout rate is high. When you hit 34 homers and play elite defense, I don't think it matters. I'm going to be completely honest. To all you people out there who tell me strikeouts do matter, I'm sorry to disappoint you. But yeah, his walk rate was over 10% for the first time in his career. Mm-hmm. Like I said earlier, drove in 100 runs for the first time. First time a Mariners catcher has done that. But to your point about the pitching staff, the ERA when Cal Raleigh is behind the plate for Seattle was 3.30. With Mitch Garver's 3.84 and with Seby Zavala's 4.76. So you can see the difference there. People, I mean, yes, he did struggle at times offensively, but look out. I mean, dude, he's back there almost every day.
He takes a break once, maybe every 2 weeks.
Yeah, and when you're a catcher, you take a beating back there. So, and his batted ball data, I want to point out, his fly ball rate this year was 51.9%. That is insane. He hits the ball in there a lot. I appreciate a guy who does not hit the ball on the ground much, especially when you're not, a speedster necessarily, like, I don't know, Byron Buxton or Tim LeCastro or someone like that. You need to hit the ball in the air if you're going to succeed. And, he's got the right launch angle for that. Like I said, 34 homers. I can see him getting around there, maybe a little higher this year. I think that we're just seeing the beginning from him. Career high 5.4 Fangraphs was tied with Contreras for the most among catchers. And right now he's projected to be the best catcher next year. So I think it's fair to say that he, I didn't even mention that he was a platinum glover behind the plate.
I didn't even bring that up either.
You can sacrifice a little offense, I think, when you also are the platinum glover. And, here's the thing is that, like, Patrick Bailey is a platinum glove caliber catcher defensively, but his WRC plus was around 80. Cal Raleigh's was 117. So I think when you put the bat and glove together, he is the best catcher in baseball.
Watching him play, this dude is a professional. This dude is someone who, when you look at the catcher position right now, he is defining it. Being able to hit the ball hard, being able to do what he needs to do, have an incredible level of grit to continue to play the way that he does. And on top of it, is a leader on the team and for the pitching staff. He has been given a golden gift of 5 aces to work with, and he is working them beautifully. There is not another catcher right now in our game that does that.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see what he can do this year.
And one other amazing thing that we haven't even touched on, he did something not even fully baseball related that's absolutely incredible. He dumped Scott Boras.
Yeah, which was a surprise. I'll say that.
I'm so happy because that means there's actually a chance he signs a long-term extension with Seattle. Please do so.
When I saw that, I was like actually shocked.
I was too.
I thought there was no way that was going to happen, but here we are. He dumped Scott Boras, and now I I am curious to see what happens with his contract situation because I believe he has 2 years left.
Yeah, I believe so.
On his deal. So this is a guy who could fetch a lot of money, whether it be now, whether it be in 2 years. He'll be more expensive in 2 years. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, of course he will. Yeah, so Seattle, please sign him to the same Julio kind of deal. Please.
Yeah, you should probably hurry up on that.
Because right now, legitimately at this point, you now have, position-wise, 2 of the best in the business on your field, with Julio in center field and Cal Raleigh behind the dish.
And the best rotation in baseball.
Legitimately, you just take a line on the field and go straight from the bottom center to the top center, and you have the best in baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
Now spend elsewhere and win. Sorry, we're going to go there. Not going to go there. Nope, not going to do that.
I understand your point, though.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it is time for everyone's favorite segment every week. It is just me competing this time, though.
Yep.
It's time for trivia. So, Alex, you have something prepared for me. So, take it away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gays and days, and everyone of all ages. It is now, and non-binary pals, excuse me. We're going to play a game that we've played kind of before on this called Who Dat?
Oh, great.
I have 10 catchers that none of them are currently active players.
Let's go.
And I have 5 clues for each one of them. For each one, you will get a point value if you get it correct by that clue. Here, so if you get it right on the first clue, then it's 5 points. Second clue is 4, 3, 2, all the way down to 1. And if you don't get it right by then, just no points. Right. What we were going to do with Splash was here is that I was going to go 1 by 1 with you guys. But since it's just you, we're going to be playing high score. Try to see what kind of score that you can get. I will also say there are some tricks in here. Not all of these are all-time great catches. There are a few personal picks that I have put in here just to have a little bit of fun because I like doing that. So, with that being said, let's go. Started. Number 1, he played for only one team.
All right, I'm in the next clue.
Okay. He has played 15 years in the MLB.
All right, yeah, I need the next clue.
All right, next. He won the MVP in 2009.
Oh, I got the answer.
Who is it?
Joe Mauer.
That is correct. That is Joe Mauer, so that's 3 points for you.
St. Paul kid.
The other 2 clues were he was elected to the Hall of Fame in 2024 and was on the cover of MLB The Show twice.
I believe the only 2-time cover athlete.
He is
as of right now.
Athlete so far. That may change. We will see. Anyway, number 2. He made his debut in 1969 for Boston.
I'll go to the next.
He played for 2 different teams in his career.
I think I know the answer.
Take a guess.
Carlton Fisk.
That is correct. It's Carlton Fisk.
Well, I thought it was him, but I wasn't sure what year he debuted. I know he hit that famous home run in the 75 series. Yeah.
So the other clues were he had a 24-year career, elected to the Hall of Fame in the year 2000, and the final clue, waved a foul ball fair over the monster.
Yep.
Anyway, all right, so you got 7 points so far through 2 questions. Way to go.
All right.
Number 3, debuted in 1991.
Next clue.
He finished his career with over 300 homers, but an OPS plus of just 106.
I think I know the answer here.
Take a guess.
Pudge Rodriguez?
It is Pudge Rodriguez. Way to go.
I didn't realize he was like 295 for his career, I thought.
Yeah, exactly, which is why I'm like, I was looking at the OPS plus, I'm like, there's no way that's correct.
He played in the steroid era, so the average OPS was high.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, so the other clues were that he was a 7-time Silver Slugger, 13-time Gold Glover.
13-time Gold Glover, yeah.
Won the World Series in 2003 with Florida, and has one of my personal favorite nicknames in Pudge. So
yeah, I'm a big Pudge Rodriguez fan. So.
Dude, same here. Pudge Rodriguez is legitimately one of the greatest to ever do it. I will take no criticism on that. All right, number 4. He debuted in 2009.
Debuted in 2009. Ooh. Yeah, I'll take the next clue.
He played his entire 12-year career with one team.
What? Okay. I have the answer here.
Who?
Buster Posey.
It is Buster Posey. Way to go, dude.
I was trying to think
catchers
catchers who debuted in 2009. And then I was like, when you said only one team, but in only a 12-year career, I was like, okay, that has to be Posey.
The other clues I had was a 50th round draft pick, declined, and became a first-round draft pick years later. He's a 3-time World Series champion, and his name makes people snicker.
Also, he was a pitcher initially when he got drafted out of high school.
He was. There's also one of my favorite videos out there is they showed him in college with a BB core. Sorry, with a Beezer, excuse me.
Yeah.
And like Buster Posey with a Beezer is not fair.
Oh, yeah.
It's not fair at all. All right. You are currently at 15 points.
All right.
You are kicking a boot. All right. Here we go. Number 5. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1972.
I need the next hint.
Yeah. He has a career 125 OPS plus.
You know what? Give me the next hint.
Okay. He played for one team primarily, except for 4 games with another team.
I got the answer, I think.
Who is it?
Is it Yogi Berra?
It is Yogi Berra.
Yep.
Way to go.
Player manager for the Mets, I believe.
Yep, for 4 games was played.
Managed them to the World Series in 73, though.
Way to go on that. All right, the other clues were he was a 10-time World Series champion, 3-time MVP, and one of the most quotable people in baseball history.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to put for that last clue instead of that. I was going to say baseball is 90% mental, the other half physical.
Exactly.
Because that's my personal favorite from him.
When you come to a fork in the road, you take it.
Take it. Yep, exactly. Yeah, you're a fork now. All right, next up here. Number 6. He made his debut in 1992.
Okay, next hint.
He has over 400 career homers.
All right, I got the answer here. I believe he's the only backstop to hit 400 homers. That is Mike Piazza.
That is, in fact, Mike Piazza. Way to go. Yeah, I probably should have remembered that part of it, but I did not. I should have made that clue
big
a little
Mike
bit
Piazza
lower
fan.
down. Yeah, obviously. The other clues were started his career with the Dodgers, but ended with the A's.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
Can't forget his stint in the Padres.
Yeah, he did have that too, yep. Was the 2016 Hall of Fame class right alongside my boy Ken Griffey Jr.
Yep.
And hit one of the most patriotic home runs of all
yep.
time. All right, number 7. Made his debut in 1992 with Cincinnati.
All right, next one.
He is still in baseball today, just in a non-player role.
I need the next one.
He has a 13 career baseball reference WAR. Just 13.
What? Okay. This one's actually difficult.
This is one of my personal picks. I'm having fun with this. Thank you for asking.
I can tell. Give me another hint.
All right. He has a similar nickname to Stan Musial.
What? A similar nickname to Stan Musial. So,
one of Stan Musial's nicknames. I should be clear.
All right, give me the last.
He is the active manager for the Seattle Mariners.
Okay, I had a feeling it was Dan Wilson.
Yeah,
but I did not realize he debuted with the Reds.
Yeah, no, he played 2 years for Cincinnati and then went to Seattle.
I think of him as a Mariners lifer. So
yeah, I agree with you. But just, he had 2 years in Cincinnati. So I knew that was going to get you. I'm just really happy that it did. All right. So that's 1 point for you on that one. Yes, I got you on one of them. But of course, I just had to go away from the Hall of Famers and go to a Mariner Hall of Famer. All right. Number 8. Debuted in 1967.
Next.
He played his entire 17-year career with one team.
I think I know the answer here.
Tell it to me.
Johnny Bench.
It is Johnny Bench, all right.
Yep.
Good job. The other clues were he led the NL in a baseball reference war in 1970 with 7.4. He was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 1989, and he set the benchmark for being a catcher.
I agree there.
Yep, 100%. I had to put the name in there somewhere.
Arguably the greatest catcher of all time. I mean,
all right. So right now, currently, you are at, let's see, that's 11, 15, 18, 22, 23, and you're at 27 points.
Right.
That is dang impressive so far. All right. Number 9. Here you go. Debuted in 1974.
All right, next hint.
He never won an MVP, but did receive votes in 7 seasons.
I need the next hint.
He had a 19-year career with 11 All-Star appearances.
11-time All-Star over 19 years, and he's a catcher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to need the next hint.
He shares a birthday with Felix Hernandez and myself.
Man, I don't know if that helps me at all.
Probably not, but it's funny.
I need the 1-pointer. I can't believe this.
Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2003 as an Expo.
Oh, dude, how did it take me this long? Gary Carter.
There you go.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, I knew I had to put the Expo one last because if I said Expos from the first
it would have been
point,
too
you
easy.
would have gotten it immediately. Okay, so 28 points. If you get the next one by anything other than the last one, then you will have averaged over 3 points per question, which I think is very
perfect.
Good. So here we go. He debuted in 2010 with Milwaukee.
I already have a strong feeling as to who this is, but I'm going to take the next one just in case.
You don't want to say a guess? Okay. Number 2, he's played for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic.
I'm going to throw out a guess here, I think.
Go for it.
Jonathan Lucroy.
It's Jonathan Lucroy!
Yes.
I had to put one more personal pick. I love Jonathan Lucroy.
Lucroy was a beast, dude.
So the other clues, because I have to say these, because these are some of my favorite things. He's a 2-time All-Star, played for 9 different teams, but only 2 of them for more than 1 year. And the last one, my personal favorite fact about Jonathan Lucroy.
Yeah.
They made an ad about why he should be in the All-Star game over Yadier Molina, with it being just a full smear campaign against Yadier Molina. It is one of the funniest videos here because the entire time it just looks like it's a presidential campaign ad, just saying like did you know that Yadier Molina is a good catcher, but did you know he plays for the Cardinals? I'm like,
I mean, that's a fair point.
True.
You know, Lucroy, I feel like people almost forget he was the best catcher in baseball for a little bit. I mean,
for a few minutes, yeah, he was not
he
very long,
got,
mind you, but
got
for a few
fourth in
minutes.
MVP voting in 2014, and he had 53 doubles that year.
Lucroy, when he was on, was absolutely on.
Yeah, it's just he fell off really, really quickly.
Yeah, I was looking at his baseball reference. He played 7 years with Milwaukee. 2 years with one other team, and then went 1 year,
Rangers,
1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year. He just kept bouncing from team to team to team.
I didn't realize how many, because I remember when the Rangers traded him to the Rockies, but I didn't realize how many other teams he played. I saw him play for Oakland. I didn't realize he played for, Angels, Cubs, Red Sox, Nats, Braves, all over the last 3 years of his career.
Yeah.
Granted, the Red Sox, it was only for 1 game, and he didn't actually get in at bat. But that's wild to me. I guess technically he got a World Series ring because he was on the 21 Braves.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was just funny because I'm like, I was going through this, and I'm like, I can't just have one personal pick. I need another one. And the only thing that kept jumping into my mind was the Jonathan Lucroy ad, which if you have not done so.
I don't think I've seen that.
I'll send it to you in Discord. But the best part about it is that like MLB itself has tried to get rid of it because they felt it was kind of in bad taste. I just think it's funny.
I mean,
you can
think
still find it on YouTube, but you have to go searching a little bit here. But I'll send you the link when I get it. But,
that's genius. But but thank you for that trivia segment. 32 points. I'm happy with that. I feel like I probably could have done better on a couple of those, but
the Gary Carter one is the one I'm most surprised with you on.
Yeah,
I thought you would have gotten that one earlier.
I forgot. I didn't realize he made 11 All-Star games. I know he had made a bunch with Montreal, and then he made a few more with the Mets. Mm-hmm. Granted, he only really had like 2 great years with the Mets.
Yeah.
His best years were definitely with Montreal.
Of course.
Just he won a World Series, obviously, with the Mets, and I think they only made 1 playoff appearance while he was on Montreal. That was one of their the many times they didn't capitalize on a player's peak. They didn't make it when they had rain. They didn't make it far when they had Raines, Dawson, and Carter. In addition to great pitching, but yeah, that was definitely fun. I appreciate those type of trivia segments. I've done those myself, so.
I was thinking about doing like a "Did he play for" segment, but I'm like, no, what? No, I want to go directly on catchers and let's have just some fun with it. Just get some cool facts out there. So
yeah. Anyways, that takes us to the final segment of the show, which is how we end every show, which is the moment to ourselves. 60 seconds or so to talk about whatever the heck is on your mind. So. Alex, if you would like to go first, you can do so.
Sure, I'll go first on this.
All right, your timer starts in 3, 2, 1, begin.
So I lost my job on Friday, and am I sad about it? Yes. It was not for performance. It was for different kinds of reasons, not even for actions. But I'll say it's been weird. I've kind of been going through what feel like the stages of grief when going with it. It's like the first day was shock, so I was in denial. Then anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance over the last several days. I'll be honest, I've not fully accepted it yet. But you know what? I got to keep moving forward. I liked the job, but there's a lot of silver linings that I'm taking from it, including the big one here, and that is me getting to continue to full-on focus on broadcasting. And that's what I'm going to do. I've been sending out emails. I'm getting right back on that grind, and I am ready to go here. And especially now that it's January, teams are going to start looking for that very soon if they've not started looking already. And so that's my job now. I have a demo reel fully made. Thank you, Boulder, for giving me the opportunity. And honestly, I would love to go back to Boulder too. If I do not have a job with a minor league team or a major league team or a Pioneer League team or something like that, I would love to go back to Boulder. And thankfully, they were kind enough to say, yeah, we would love to have you back as well. So I'm not treating this as like a demotion or as something that is going to be a setback. This is me being free to move forward as I need to be.
I mean, I lost my job last year. I know what it's like. And yeah, I definitely, I feel like went through those 5 stages too. But yeah, no, I mean, you have the right attitude, I think. So we'll, hopefully the future has big things in store.
Yep, I hope so
and
too.
Honestly, yeah. I was wondering about Boulder, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I love Boulder. The team over there was absolutely fantastic to work with, and I love the fact that I got to be a part of them here. I don't know if I ever said this on camera or not, but I haven't hung up somewhere. But one of the last things they gave me, and again, I nearly teared up when I saw it, is that the entire team signed a framed picture of the team for me, with in the middle being "Thank you, Alex," and then that got me. That got me tearing up.
I mean, man. That's a really awesome gesture. I mean, that's
definitely. All right, you ready to go, boss?
Yeah, sure.
All right, your time begins in 3, 2, 1, go.
So, completely different direction here. The last 2 years, I've been really dedicated to changing my my eating and drinking habits and stuff. But today I saw there's a Krispy Kreme and Pop-Tarts crossover, and all of a sudden I'm like, maybe that all goes out the window just for this. I mean, these are two things that are, I'd say, guilty pleasure foods for me. I don't eat Pop-Tarts that often. For the few months where I wasn't living at home, I definitely had some Pop-Tarts. Krispy Kreme is, I don't eat sweets that often anymore, but man, I'd go crazy for some Krispy Kreme. And man, put those two things together. This is the crossover of the century, in my opinion. So maybe, there's a Krispy Kreme walking distance from me. Maybe I should go get some donuts after this. I'm not going to go get some today, but that's a wild crossover, if you ask me. So yeah, shout out to those two companies coming together to put out something amazing. I hope it tastes as amazing as it looks.
Lord help the soul that made that, because they're going to be drowning in money. Because that is a crossover for the ages. Oh, but also for the hospital rooms, because that will kill people.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's dangerous.
That's very dangerous.
If you haven't seen the movie Unfrosted about the creation of Pop-Tarts, or so they say, Jerry Seinfeld made it. It's really funny. I highly recommend it. But man,
real quick, before we end up for the day, what's the best flavor of Pop-Tart?
What's the best frosted? I'm a big fan of the cinnamon sugar one. The frosted.
I get that one. See, I'm very much in the minority. The chocolate chip one is mine.
I've never really had those. Thing.
Well, yeah, because it's not like traditional Pop-Tart, like where it doesn't have like the frosting coating on it. It does just like the chocolate drizzle with chocolate chips all over it. It's still really good.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just. I know that they've put out some other like goofy flavors like s'mores or chocolate sundae and stuff, and I'm like, that's just not a real. I feel like those aren't real Pop-Tarts,
I mean, to be fair, what is real about a Pop-Tart? There's very little real.
Yeah, sometimes I like, the blueberry or the strawberry frosted,
I mean, yeah, they're classics, yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend them toasted.
I also don't remember the last time I legitimately had a Pop-Tart. I want to say it was back in college. But...
I mean, it's a college student staple, I feel like, so...
I mean, but even in college, I didn't eat them very often just because I'm like, I felt like they were better options if I needed to eat something.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because I never felt satisfied after eating a Pop-Tart. I always just felt like, well, that's in my body now. All right.
Yeah, it's one of the things where I either would have it for breakfast, or if I was really, really craving something sweet after dinner, I would have one for dessert. But it is one of those things where I don't have them very often anymore. But yeah, I mean, like I said, they're guilty pleasure food.
That's fair. That's honestly very fair.
Yeah. Before we end off, why don't you guys let us know what you think the best Pop-Tart flavor is? That's the non-baseball
who's the best catcher. What's the best Pop-Tart?
Yeah, so
hey, Pop-Tart pop-up time for catchers. Makes sense.
Yeah, tell us. You can tell us two things. One, who's the best catcher, and two, what's the best Pop-Tart? You can tell us your top 5 Pop-Tarts.
Yo, can we do that for a parody stream one day? Just do top 5 Pop-Tart flavors.
Top 5 Pop-Tarts, top 5 burgers. I don't know.
Wait, no, hold on. We need to do a top 5 crossover Krispy Kreme and Pop-Tart. What would be the ultimate
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I haven't been to Krispy Kreme in years. I wouldn't in probably a couple years.
There's a Krispy Kreme really close to T-Mobile Park, and to avoid parking, a lot of times we'll do pickups and drop-offs at there instead.
Yeah.
So to save the $70+ on parking. So yeah. So I went there recently after the last game to get a donut because I'm like, I'm here waiting.
I need it, yeah.
Get the little schnock.
Yeah. So tell us at LAR_baseball. Do you disagree with our catcher rankings? Do you disagree with our taste in Pop-Tarts? Let us know. Like I said, at LAR_baseball. You can follow our individual accounts. You can follow Alex at the Sports Guy 242. You can follow Splash at Mr. Splashman 19. You can follow me at Mathias_A_K. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and leave a like on this video. Make sure to follow us on Spotify as well. Leave a 5-star review, or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Leave us a 5-star review. And yeah, tell us what you like. Tell us what you didn't like. Like I said, if you disagree with us on Pop-Tarts or anything, let us know.
I'm expecting to get flamed in the comments for liking the chocolate chip Pop-Tart.
Yeah,
that's
there's
one that
only one way to find out.
Like,
But anyways, for all of us at LAR, thank you all for listening. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all real soon. Thank you.
Big Dumper Supremacy!